And we are definitely in the end times, if you ask me. I know I always say that, but it's true. All right. Speaking of which, End Times Forecaster. So this is a site that I came across. This particular blog, anyway, came across it, and it sent off some bells and whistles for me, just because if you've been a follower of what I'm doing for any time at all, you probably have heard of my talking about Jesus' potential return in the year 2028. Well, this is someone else who thinks that that may very well be the case. And this particular blog post says the prophetic significance of the Kamchatka quake, which is that big one that happened the other day, and the Trump-Putin summit. When something occurs way beyond chance, it makes you wonder. Steve Wilkin of Jesus Second Coming 2028, which is a website, has just discovered some startling information about sinks, SYNCS, sinks, connecting the Kamchatka quake and the Putin-Trump summit and 9/30/28. Here's the data, you be the judge. So 9/30/28 is what this guy is saying would be the potential return date for Jesus Christ. And I have always stated what Gabriel Erb has stated on his website, 2028end.com, which was a project I worked on a long time ago at this point, back in 2018. And that is Feast of Trumpets 2028. We don't know the exact day. We don't know the exact hour. But Feast of Trumpets was also known as No Man Knows the Day or the Hour. So when Jesus said his return, when he's talking about his return, and he says, no man knows the day or the hour, many people think, including myself, he was describing the Feast of Trumpets because that was the name of it. And we're going to look at that a little closer. Anyway, this guy, Steve Wilkin, is stating that 9/30/28 is a significant date, which may or may not be true, but that's just what he's saying. So he's comparing all of this stuff that happened with the Kamchatka quake and the Trump and Putin summit according to the numbers here. So it's a little bit difficult to follow, but he ends up here with 9/30/28 based on his various calculations, which of course is super simple because look at all these numbers and figures and all this stuff. So I don't know. I'm just saying it might be worth a look if you guys want to check it out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it tonight. But he does go into it in this particular post. And his website here, which I have not really looked at really close at all, but we do agree that Jesus in 2028 might be significant. And that's what this website's about. Jesus Second Coming 2028.com. And it's a website that I just came across, did not have any idea about this until literally yesterday when I was looking through links and stuff to talk about in the live show. And came across this. And, that is after having worked on the videos for Mr. Gabriel Ainsley Erb here on 2028end.com, which many of you guys have heard me mentioned. I've mentioned it on and off since working on the project back in 2018. No, 2018 is when I worked on the project with him, and then started my video series called Take It to the Lord in Prayer, End Times Dates, in 2019. So after working on this project, and by this project I mean on the, I didn't do any of the videos here, I just helped him take his videos that he created and author some DVDs and Blu-rays. So I helped him with the DVD and Blu-ray aspect of 2028end.com, so I was very familiar with what he said and with the timeline that he put forth as far as saying Jesus would return Feast of Trumpets 2028. And to me, that makes an awful lot of sense. And as I'm talking to this about Jesus returning 2028, I'm just seeing that it is currently 11:11 p.m. And I did not time this so that I would be talking about Jesus' return in 2028 at 11:11, but I'm just noticing that that's what time it is. Anyway, all that to say, 2028end.com is very, very interesting website. Now there's another one. And I've never heard of this guy, but it's Jesus Second Coming 2028end.com by this person here. So, and looks like there's quite a bit here on this site, and I haven't really perused it, so I can't really confirm anything on here other than it seems to be a lot of blog posts. And I did see something earlier that led me to think that perhaps he is a pre-tribber, which, you know how I felt about that, you guys, but it's something to look at, and I do think that there will be more and more people as 2028 approaches that come to terms possibly with the fact that maybe that's true. Maybe that is what's going to unfold. And I had a very interesting chat with ChatGPT earlier tonight whilst I was pedaling my little heart out on a bike at the gym. And I just sat there and typed and typed and typed. And I will show you that conversation here in just a few minutes. And it is really, really interesting. And I think I have ChatGPT, at least from our conversation, intrigued in the whole 2028 idea as far as Jesus returning. So we'll look at that here in a sec. So stay tuned for that. It's very interesting.